always and always looking for an opportunity that will completely transform our lives. An actor looks for an opportunity to be in a part of a big movie. An entrepreneur looks for an opportunity to raise capital at $1 billion valuation. An astronaut looks at an opportunity to be aboard a historic mission. And a college student looks for an opportunity to talk to his crush just once. Well, except for that college student, no one has really thought about what will happen when you get that opportunity. So one such opportunity came to me. The time was March 2020. The COVID was started to spread in our country. And I got a call from Ministry of Health. And I picked up the phone. They said, how many ventilators can you make in the next 30 days? I said, 10,000, sir. I said, really? I said, yes. Come meet me in my office. So I went there the next day. And we just went over the ventilator, testing over the patients, and more than 1 week of testing, patient 1, patient 2, patient 3, patient 4, so many patients, 16, 17 hours of testing every single day. And I was looking for that one opportunity that I wish I could get this big order. It will completely transform my company. It will completely transform my life. And finally, I got that order. And as soon as I saw that mail, I ran across the room and I went to my employees and I said, hooray, we actually got this order and we are going to build 10,000 ventilators. And everyone was on the top of their lungs. They were shouting. It was like, you might have seen the movie, in the movies that, everyone is running across, and that is how it was. And there was this one pessimistic guy, and we all have that guy around us. He's like the fun police. Everything good, he can actually find a problem in that good thing. So he said, how much time do we have? I said, 30 days. And everyone fell off the chair. Everyone was like, no, we cannot do it. It is impossible. We are absolutely not ready for it. And I said, why? We can do it. It is a problem, but we can figure this out. So the first problem, we said, okay, let's discuss problem one by one. Let's go through it. Number one, we were making around 30 ventilators a month. And at this point in time, to complete that order in 30 days, we need to make 300 ventilators a day, which is a huge difference. So what do we need? We need a big space. So I called up a person, and these people, they are contract manufacturers. They have this huge facility which they rent down to people, and you can actually go there and manufacture whatever you want to manufacture. So I called him up. I said, listen, I need your facility from tomorrow. He said, what? It's middle of COVID. We're shut down. We can't give you the facility. I called up another person. No. Third person. No. Fourth person. No. Okay, now the thought is sinking in me. It's not that easy. We really have to be innovative here. So what we said to ourselves, what do we need? We need a big hall, we need it to be air-conditioned, and we need it to be absolutely clean, because you need a very clean facility to make ventilators. So we said, what is it that completes all of these things? So the one thing that came to my mind was, how about we hire a banquet hall? Because I don't think anyone would be interested in getting married in the middle of COVID in a banquet hall. So let's call up this person and see if we can do it. So I called up the person and I said, hey, listen, I need your banquet hall for next 30 days. Would you be willing to give it to me? He was absolutely in shock, but he said yes. I called up another person. Yes. Third person. Yes. Fourth person. Yes. We booked 4 banquet halls. And this is how the banquet hall used to look like. So this was the manufacturing facility, which was completely shifted to a banquet hall. There was another banquet hall, which was absolutely adjacent to it. And this is the second hall. And then another banquet hall was used to store the raw materials, which you can see over here. And it was full of people, and we completely transformed the whole manufacturing process into how we can actually do it. Then, the second problem was, we were a team of approximately 50 people. And we wanted at least 150 to 200 people to build this ventilator in the record time. And how do we do that? Because it was the middle of pandemic. We did not have any people. So the first thing that we did was completely counterintuitive. We said, if we skill the labor, it is going to take at least 15 to 20 days. And it's not going to happen. So let's make the problem much more simpler. So just to explain how the manufacturing works, you have one station in which we do 4 or 5 different activities, goes to the next station, we do 4 or 5 different activities, next station, and you have like 10, 15 stations, and that's how you have the production line. So we said, let's make this whole process much more simpler. And what we did was we divided this 15 stations that we had into roughly 100 stations. And we made the job very, very, very simple. So one person only had the job of putting a pipe over a nozzle. The other person had a job of just tightening one single nut in the ventilator. With this kind of a simplification, you don't need a skilled labor. But there was another problem. Instead of now 150, 200 people, now we need roughly 500 to 800 people to manufacture these ventilators. So this was another problem. So I called up the person who is the head of industries in Noida, where we operate from, and said, listen, sir, we've got a problem. I need 500 to 800 people to be recruited tomorrow. And I need it immediately. How do we do it? So we did some of the brainstorming session, we understood the problem, and we came up with something completely genius. And the strategy was, because in COVID, all the villages were sealed. So we went to 4 of the villages, and we went there, got the passes done, got the permissions done, and we immediately said, hey, anyone who has 2 hands and who's between 18 to 25 is ready to work, can come and join us to manufacture. We went to 4 different villages, and we hired almost everyone in that village who was between 18 to 25 and got them to manufacture in our facility. With just 15 minutes of training to each person, the whole line was ready to move on. And because we had 4 different banquet halls, 4 different locations, and 4 different villages, we were able to physically separate out and completely save the infection from spreading. We were able to quarantine, because if one village gets infected, the other 3 lines will still be working. We can completely shut that line off, and we can still run with 3 other lines which were there in the line. This was the second problem solved. Okay. The third problem was that we don't have any parts, because, as you remember, in the middle of COVID, there were no flights that were flying. And there are a lot of parts which are coming from China, from London, from Russia, from Malaysia, Singapore, so on and so forth. What do we do about it? And most of the flights, the passenger flights, it comes under the underbelly of these flights, and these flights were not operating. So during COVID, what we did was I Googled up how to charter an aircraft. And as soon as I Googled it, I got a few numbers. I started calling those numbers. Called up a person. Hey, listen, I need to fly an aircraft charter from New Delhi to Guangzhou, China. What would it take for you to do it? He said, listen, I have a small aircraft. I cannot do it, but I know someone who can. So I called up that person. I said, listen, I need to fly to London, and I need to fly to Guangzhou, China. What it would take for me to actually do it. He said, I have a Gulfstream G550, and it can do that. I would need some permissions and this and that, but we can do it. I said, okay, perfect. What is the price? He said, my aircraft is somewhere around 5 to 6 lakh rupees an hour, and it is a 12-hour round trip, so it would be roughly around 60 to 70 lakh rupees. I said, perfectly fine, but ensure that this aircraft flies tomorrow morning from New Delhi and comes back by tomorrow night in New Delhi with the parts. He said, okay, and whatever the money is, it will be there in another 2 hours with you. So I called up my accountant. I said, listen, talk to this person, and whatever he needs, transfer it back to his account. So he said, hey, listen, calm down. There's a problem. There's a problem. He's the second pessimist guy, not the first one, but he said, there's a problem. While you were away and doing the marketing of your ventilator to the government, there's something interesting happened. The exports of the ventilator from India has been completely banned. And now we have to refund the money which we have taken from other countries to deliver them ventilators. And we are already doing it. And now we don't have money. I said, okay, we need to find some some answer to this. And it was volatile time. I was not in favor of taking a loan because you never know what will happen tomorrow. It is an unprecedented time. So problems after problems and problems after problems. These are just 3 or 4 different problems that I've just told you. And even for that money problem, we were able to solve it and go on to make those 10,000 ventilators within 30 days, which is still a record right now. And even right now, when we talk about the time when no one was giving India ventilators, we provided these ventilators in the record time and helped India breathe. Now, why am I telling you all this? Am I just making myself proud, telling you what we did, how we did? No. I was invited to a talk like this after COVID, and I was told that, why don't you share the journey and, what you learned about it? So I looked back at it, and I said, hey, what can we learn from this? And I understood a pattern of how my brain works and how I've been able to innovate so many things in the last 13 years. And the pattern is very simple. The pattern can be included in everyone's life. And there are 3 key giveaways to it. The first giveaway is every problem is an opportunity. The bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. So every time you face a problem, be thankful to God that you got that problem. Because now you have a chance to prove yourself. You have a chance to excel in life. Now you might say, there are some of the problems which are very, very difficult to solve, or maybe some of the things which are impossible to solve. How do we do that? Very simple. Whenever you face a problem, our ape mind has been designed in a way that we get clouded. There's a hormone that is produced, which is called cortisol. And cortisol is basically a stress hormone. As soon as you get in stress, this hormone gets produced. And your brain function gets cloudy. Your decision making gets cloudy. So the first thing that you would want to do is to sit down, relax, take a deep breath, and say, let's figure this out. And when you do that, the first thing that you have to do is to break that problem into multiple small pieces. Every big problem is made out of small little pieces. And once you break that down, take one thing at a time, solve it, and move forward. And then we come to the third giveaway, that when we solve these problems, then again, we are worried. We are worried if we would be able to solve this problem, or if we are making the right decision by solving that problem, whether the solution is right or not. It does not matter. It really does not matter whether the solution is right or not. You must come up with a solution. You take a step forward, make a solution, see if it is working. If it works, wonderful, else get back. Try another one. Try the third one. Try the fourth one. If you take too much time into finding a solution, you would be spending too much energy, and after spending too much energy, when you fail, you will be disappointed. So instead of spending too much energy, just spend a little bit of energy, move forward, like you are a mouse in the maze, try to find a solution. If it doesn't work out, back off. Try another one. Try the third one. And these are the 3 key giveaways which I've learned in the last 13 years. And when I backtrack it, it completely fits the equation. When I was 18 years old, I wanted to make a robot. I actually wanted to research on robots. So I went to the website and I tried to find a lot of robots, and they were too expensive. I said, listen, I cannot afford them. Lakhs and lakhs of rupees, I don't have that money. It's a problem. What do we do about it? Let's try to find a solution. How about I make my own robot? And that is how, my friends, I made Manav. It was not because I wanted to sell something in the market, but because I wanted it. And that was the solution to the problem. I went to the hospital, understood that there are people who have brain damage, they have nerve damage, they're not able to control their bodies, they're completely locked in their body, breathing and listening to everything, but not able to do anything. Big problem. How do we solve that problem? We solve that problem by breaking that problem down. The first problem, how do you understand what they're thinking? Okay, let's find out. There's a device called EEG, which is used by the doctors all across the world. It's an old technology. So with that, we can understand what is going on inside the brain. I mean, you can just at least get the waveforms of it. Okay, understood. But how do we understand? Because we can't make a doctor sit in front of that screen and control the wheelchair. That won't be right. We make a program. How do we make a program? Because programs are very difficult to make, and a normal program would not work because everyone's brain is different. Okay, that's a problem. Let's solve it. We make a machine learning algorithm. And with that machine learning algorithm, we are able to learn how that person's brain is actually reacting and fine-tune that algorithm to that particular person. And now this particular wheelchair is very specific to that particular person's brain and how he's reacting. Problem solved. So it's always the complex problems that completely throw us down. But it is very easy for us to solve these problems. Instead of the problems breaking you, you break the problem down. And if you fit this whole theory and the concept to everyone else, it works very flawlessly. Jeff Bezos, he said, hey, I cannot order books online. Let's try to make something through which I can order books online. He made Amazon. Elon Musk, hey, going to space is too expensive. Let's try to build something much more cheaper. He built SpaceX. Steve Jobs, he said, computer is too geeky. I'm not able to, easily communicate with the computer. Let's try to make a more beautiful OS, a more beautiful interaction system. He built Macintosh. It's always about problems. And every single problem that we face in our life is an opportunity. So be thankful for that problem, because every problem is an opportunity in disguise. Thank you so much.